Good. How are you?
Long time no see, madam.
I I know, right? Oh my gosh. How's your
I
day? Or half a day since I've talked to you last, I guess. 24 hours, yeah.
know, pretty good.
Yeah, that's good.
I know, exactly. It's we can't get enough of each other, guys. It's just
Oh,
all the time. So
all day, every day.
absolutely, I like what you're wearing. What is that you're wearing?
I actually got this time I went to Full Figure Fashion Week. It was this like indie designer, and it was like one of a kind or something, and it was
Nice.
this fabric I like love. So one of my favorite dresses. I wear like all
Yeah,
the
I
time.
like it.
Thanks.
Oh,
Oh,
nice. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Well, I think we have a couple of minutes. We can hi Paul, thanks for joining. We'll let me just share this out to get people, and you can feel free to invite some folks to join us, and then we will get started. Let's see. How's your Saturday going so far? Good?
it's going good. I'm like not doing too much. I have to like pack. I have to do like laundry all day today. I'm leaving for
Yep.
LA tomorrow and just like getting ready for that.
Yeah,
Yeah. What about you?
I know. Yeah. Busy. Yeah, so I've been up early this morning. I'm getting through my book, Big Little Lies, for the Dressing Room Mate book club. So I've been reading like
Uh,
crazy, and yeah, I like the show. The show, it mirrors the book. I would say it's very similar. So did you watch the
okay.
show or no?
The show I did. I didn't read the book. I watched the show, loved the show. But I did hear that it was like a little bit different
Yeah,
than the book. So I'm curious.
it's so yeah, so far it's similar. It's interesting. The characters mostly are the same. Like description wise, some of the characters look a little bit different how they're described in the book. But like the themes and like I don't want to give out spoiler alerts, but like you know the big conflict, right? Like I think we're leading up to that. So we'll see. I'm nearly done. So I'm reading that. But I also have like my house is filled with books. I have like 60 books I need to read in like the next 3 months. It's ridiculous. Like
Oh my God.
so, working on
One at a
I have
time.
nothing else to do, right? So let's just like read like yeah, exactly. So just doing
Oh
that,
my God.
but outside of
I
that
don't know how you
also
do
I know. But so
it.
you know what I like reading because it really relaxes me. So like even though it's like I have a lot to do, I have like 18-hour days, I still really enjoy it because it's like the one time where I'm just like fully peaceful. Like I'm all
Yeah.
about that like sit down with a book under a blanket. Like I love to do that.
Yeah, it's not work. It's a luxury. Though if you have to do 30,
Exactly,
that's a
exactly.
lot.
Exactly. Yep. So I guess with that, we'll get started. Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Saturday. My name is Natasha Nurse. I'm the owner and co-founder of Dressing Room Mate. I'm the host here with the Style for It Influencer Real Talk. And the beautiful woman next to me, the one and only Faith Costa. She's a model. She is an artist, an advocate. She does everything. And if you don't know her story, by joining this conversation, you're going to understand what it takes to really be an influencer because she has had rapid growth in a very short time. And so there's no one better to speak to this than the one and only Faith. So with that, I guess as always, just kind of start off with just sharing your story and like, how did you become an influencer first?
So becoming an influencer was never even something that I had thought of or planned out really, which I hate to say. It kind of was a wonderful thing that happened.
Yeah.
Um, I had started my Instagram page just about 3 years ago,
Yep.
and I kind of wanted a place to be like vulnerable and to talk about my body positive journey, about plus size fashion, about like all things kind of like that I loved, and I really didn't expect anything of it. The
Yep.
joke that I always say is I didn't even want any followers. I just wanted it to be kind of like I didn't understand how the internet worked clearly, and kind of wanted it to
Yeah.
be a place to like post and be vulnerable, but still have, just an outlet. And after it was a week or 2 weeks, I got over 1,000 followers. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what is this world? What is this internet? What are these hashtags? What are these things? All these people around the world, these
Yeah.
communities that I was unaware of even existed. And so after about 6 months, I started growing and growing, and I was still staying completely true to my original passions and things, and talking about things that I wanted to. And that's when I started to get approached by brands. And that's when I was like, what is this? This isn't actually a thing. Like, I thought you had to be a certain type of person. I thought you had to have a certain type of page to be able to do those types of things. And that was not the case. So now here we are. And I, a mere 3 years later, I have 86,000 followers, I believe. And on Instagram,
just on
I've worked with
Instagram alone,
dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of brands. My website, I have my other social media, I do collaborations, and I just love it. And it's something that I never even really thought about. But I absolutely love it. I love what I do. I love the brands I work with, and it's just all wonderful. And if you can do it, you should.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, Jordy, for sharing. You approve this and that we keep influencing people. I love it. Thank you. And everyone who's been commenting, guys, this is a conversation. So yeah, definitely share your thoughts, your comments. Thank you. Yeah, it's impressive. It's really incredible how your growth. I mean, I remember when I first saw you online, and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. And, and you were like, what? I don't model. I'm like, what? Like,
that was the whole other part of it, was that, after, I guess it was maybe only 2 or 3 months of starting to collaborate with brands, I then got approached about modeling, and that started to get in the mix of things. And I talked to you. I'll never forget that first phone call I had with you. I was on vacation, and I didn't tell my parents. It was a whole secret thing. I didn't know. And it was May, and I remember I entered my first model search contest, and I ended up winning. That just kicked off everything. So it's all about just doing it and taking chances.
Exactly. And just so everyone knows, Faith, again, model, artist, activist for body positivity, mental health advocacy, and she also has her own shop on StyleForIt. So I will put in the comments now, just so everyone has that. What is StyleForIt? What brings us all here together? It's a platform that's for women, plus size women, who are sizes 12 to 32. Guys, 12 to 32, that's a really great range in our community, because if anyone knows, usually plus cuts off 20, 22, 26, right? They're very limited. StyleForIt is very expansive, and it's a plus size fashion resale and marketplace. So we both have our own shops on there, and we're going to talk about how we're going to be incorporating this in the work as influencers and content creators that we do. So just, stay along. And if you have questions about StyleForIt, questions for Faith, questions for me, just, tune in. Okay. So Faith, you shared how your journey got started. Next question on deck is, what would you say are staples that you need as an influencer for your shoots, for the vision that you're planning for your blog and social media?
So do you mean an actual thing, or you mean otherwise?
Yeah. So you definitely can talk about the mindset stuff, but more so even the fashion, what are staples? Yeah. And if you want, do you want me to maybe go first and help you?
Well, so the first thing I would say, the thing is, in doing shoots and things, it's always classic pieces are always good, and to keep it simple. I'd say the first thing that everyone ever taught me was, don't overdo it. Don't overdo it. Don't over accessorize. Don't over glam up, especially for shoots and things. You want to keep it simple. You want to keep it classic so that these images last a really long time. But at the same time, to stay trendy, you like to do different things that are popular and stylish now. So a mix of that, I think, is really important. What about you?
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so for me, I would definitely say diverse shoe collection. So for me, I'm 5'8" really, and I feel like I'm close enough to heaven. I don't necessarily love heels, so I like getting really cool looking like sneakers or like sneaker shoes or wide platform shoes. So having like diverse shoes that can support the different looks that I'm doing. For me, as you know, I like makeup. I'm not as good as Faith. Faith is always,
so good.
her face is always
earlier, gorgeousness.
You're so sweet. Thank you. I mean, you know, I'm having more fun with it. Makeup's a newer journey for me. I only started like mid-20s with makeup. My mom never wore makeup, so I didn't have that background and that context. So now I'm like a kid and I'm like, ooh,
oh my God,
what is all this stuff?
That's fun though, because then you get to experiment, you get to try new things, and that's the thing. That's the whole fun of it. I was the one who was in like seventh grade who went to like CVS and called my mom and said, "Mom, can I buy eyeliner?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh, of course. Do you want me to come meet you? I can help you." So
yes, yes.
The time that we like get into these things, and it's all about expression. It's all about fun.
Absolutely. So yeah, so even if you're shooting for fashion, guys, you have to remember it's a head to toe look that you have to create these images that essentially we're creating and painting for people. So also for me, as you know, big hair. So I'm always looking for like some type of hair accessory or some type of hairstyle. I mean, I usually like my big out hair, but some people have different you know, different vibes that they're going for, but I definitely like that. Also, I would say makeup colors, right? Every look has a different kind of feeling. So makeup is big, the shoes are big, obviously the clothes, you need lots and lots of different clothes to create different looks, or be creative with the clothes, like wear stuff inside out, backwards, figure out different, you know, and then of course there's the modeling piece of it, learning your, you know, your poses and all of that. I would say those are the key things for being an influencer.
Definitely. When you said the shoes, I immediately like thought the first like major thing that I had to get for myself, because every time I would do something, I was like, oh my God, I don't have this, was a pair of black and nude strappy heels with a thick heel, not the skinny little ones. The ones I can actually stand in and walk in if I'm shooting, you know, if I'm like doing some kind of influence thing and I'm walking grass, like I need something sturdy, but that is a universal shoe that goes with literally everything. So I went out and I like found the perfect black and nude strappy heels and pumps, and like that was it, because I am more of a heel girl. I like the wedges, I like the heels. Even though I am like 5'8", 5'9", I'm like, whatever. I am tall, I am big, I am here. And so the shoes, and definitely learning different techniques of my makeup. So despite me doing my makeup my whole life, I kind of was always very, you know, in high school it was the very emo phase. I did everything. So, and I wear like my winged liner almost every day. But what I realized with like shoots and things and influencing is that I got to like tone it down, and I had to learn how to do natural makeup. And that was actually like something that I had to learn to do, because so many brands, they have their own imaging, they have their own way that they want to represent themselves. And you know, as much as you're representing yourself, you're also representing a brand. So for shoots and things, like learning how to do natural makeup was major for me. And foundation pieces, having a good bra, having good underwear that you feel good and confident in. You know, despite even if you use it, feeling good in that foundation is super important as well for me.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because a lot of people, not every blogger or influencers for foundation wear. I'm with you. I think, you know, for the images and the lines that you're creating, I think foundation wear is kind of a staple. So I would say, having those good undershirts, good, you know, pull up underwear that, you know, sucks us in and holds us tight, Spanx, right? Like also I love bodysuits. I like to wear things over bodysuits. So, you know, you got to figure out, I would say, what type of style do you generally like, and then incorporating that with the type of brands that you're working and the types of kind of shoots that you want to have. And each shoot is different, each theme is different. And I guess my next question would be, how do you like create the shoot? Say you're working with 1 or 2 brands, you got to shoot this weekend. What's step one for you? Could you walk us through kind of how do you create the shoot from like beginning to completion?
So it depends on the product, I would say. I try to do a little bit of research beforehand. I go on their Instagram page and their website. I want to see what they like. I want to see their kind of style, because if I'm going to represent them, I want them to repost me, and I want to be in their wheelhouse of theme. I don't want to be
smart,
like support me, but not want to, share my images as well. So if it's for clothing or something like that, I kind of look at the style. And it is a part of the thing. It is convenience. It is where I can get to. It is weather related. Unfortunately, I know many times I've had shoots where I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to go outside. I have to do it this day. And then it like pours. And I'm like, okay, change of plans. Do it inside, at home. We're clearing off this wall and we're making it work. Depends. And then once you like have the pieces, you then put your style to it, your own personal flair to it. So my is whatever the kind of vibe you go with, and it is a process. However you do that, you have to figure out, and it is a kind of a learning experience. So it took me a while. It took me a year to kind of like get in the groove of figuring out what works for me, how I like to go about it. The time of day, when I have the highest energy, because I want to like put my best foot forward, and I want to, because you're representing yourself, and you want other brands to see, oh, that's how they represented them. I want them to represent me. You know what I mean? So creating content that is accessible to a lot of people. So nothing like, I personally don't do anything like too crazy or too risque. I like things that I represent be accessible and relatable to as many people as possible. So that is something that I definitely consider. Again, and then it comes to styling. It's hair, makeup, accessories, keep true to myself. And when I do my influencing, like on my Instagram, fun fact, guys, I do not Photoshop or Facetune any of my photos. I strictly only edit the coloring. That is it. That is it. Strictly the color, strictly the lighting. So that's something on brand for me. And I think that that's something that brands enjoy about me as well. I'm not one blurring out things or editing, my face or, lines on my body or anything like that. It really is about finding your niche and finding a way and a process that's good for you.
Absolutely. I love that. Okay. And guys, just to recap for everyone who's tuning in live, and if you missed it, she said really important, and this is something I can even do better myself, researching the Instagrams, the Facebooks of the brands themselves. What is the style? When she said that, so important, right? Because why are they going to repost your picture if you shoot in a way not within their style and the type of looks that they're looking for? So that's super critical. Again, styling within your personal, incorporating your personal look to it so it's unique and it's not generic. Also figuring out how to be flexible, she said, right? Going outside is always, of course, ideal, but if you can't and you still got to get it done, what could you do indoors, right? Really thinking outside of the box. So those are super, super important points. Yeah, I mean, I completely concur with everything. I don't even have anything to add. So I guess the next question would be, what's the process with how do you work with brands? Just so for anyone who wants to be an influencer, how does that look? Like, how do you get started working with brands?
So I was very lucky and had, when I got into it, brands were approaching me. I then learned, even after working with me, you learn so much, that you can actually contact brands. you can actually contact
Yep.
them, which is
Yep.
something that like for some reason that like blew my mind. That like, oh, I can DM them on
Yeah.
Instagram. I can find an email address and email them
Yeah.
and introduce myself and they'll
Yeah.
respond. Like that was something that just was completely and utterly wild to me. Thinking that these brands were untouchable and it wasn't true.
Yeah.
So now it's
Mm-hmm.
if I want to work with a brand, I find an email address.
Yeah.
I find someone else who's worked with them. I get a point person. I DM them. I do what I blow up their Instagram. I think I always do that first. Actually, that is a funny thing that I realize I do. Before I do anything, I make sure that they like have the possibility of seeing me. If if the company has 1 million followers, they won't. But I like the first like 15 photos in there. I follow them. I make sure, and then I send the email. And
Gotcha.
it's really easier than you would think. It is easier if you do already have a pre-existing platform of something that of your already self. It's a little bit hard if you're just starting and then you don't really have the experience behind it. But that's the time that you work with like independent brands. You do smaller collaborations, things like that. I've done tons of them. I still do occasionally. You have to build up to it.
Exactly.
So
exactly.
So
yeah, I mean, I would just add to that. Yeah, like exactly. It's no one is untouchable. I think it is funny that people think like, you know, like, oh, Lane Bryant or ooh, Torrid, but like the organization is made of people. So any person is worth time and value like anyone else. And what's the worst thing that could happen? You send an email and they don't respond. Okay, the world doesn't stop turning, right? You just kind of keep moving. And you are right, not every brand will respond to you, right? Because again, there's certain things that they're looking for. Maybe they're tapped out on their budget. Maybe they only work with influencers 50,000 or more, right? So you've got to figure it out. But there are smaller brands that work with micro influencer, which is the term for like the newbies starting out, right? And you start to build those relationships. Another thing I would advertise or share with people is that remember that bloggers can collaborate together, right? Why not work with another blogger who has 10,000 followers and you have 2,000? Then you guys can capitalize on each other. Your fans can follow each other and follow you, and you know, and you can build a community. So remember that you're building a platform with a brand, but then also within the community of bloggers and content creators themselves. And just, you got to be fearless. I think that's the other thing. I think it's so funny when I say, oh, you know, did you get in touch with them? They're like, I just sent one email. In life, if you want something, is one email ever going to be sufficient? Probably not. Like you've got to be hungry for this. If you needed to get your hair done, you would do the damnedest thing. You would drive in the rain, you would, you know, kill somebody and get Starbucks and go get your hair done, right? But like you said you want to become an influencer and you're like, no, I don't know, right? Like, come on now. So intention meets action. It's got to be there fully, right? So that's the only thing I would add to that. Do you have any like shooting, when you're shooting as an influencer, how do you deal with any type of insecurities or like fears? And do you have any when you're shooting and, you know, doing the different looks?
I used to a lot. It's taken time to get through that. I remember in the beginning, it was like, I felt like I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what to do with my hands. I didn't know how to pose. I have the same two poses, arm on this side and the arm on this side. And that was it. And, you know, I have my mom take my pictures. I still have my mom take my pictures for me because, you know, I'm not in the city. I don't have access to photographers every day like a lot of other influencers and bloggers do. So that is like a major thing that I felt insecure about, was how do I create similar content with what I can work with. As far as like,
that makes sense.
You know what I mean? And I still struggle with that. Is that, you know, because when you're in New York, you can meet up for a coffee with somebody, do a collab, and then go home, you know. I don't have that. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of other people don't as well. So you have to like figure that out of like how you can work with what you have. And that's something that I still work on.
Mm.
Again,
Gotcha.
insecurities of in the beginning, not feeling confident in how I looked. I wanted to be taken seriously, but I had to kind of teach myself how to do it. So I did research. I followed other bloggers. I followed other influencers. I looked at their poses. I things like that. It's research. It's time. It's work. And I really worked at it, and I've worked at it. This is my job, you know. So I've made that a priority because when I do these, I can crank out an influencer shoot in like 15 minutes, go boom, 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 done. You know, where it used to be like an hour and a half of me standing there sweating, uncomfortable. I don't know what I'm doing, yelling at my mom. The lighting isn't right. You know, it was stressful. So now I like get myself together. I know the process. I know what works for me. And it's so much better. Like, I think I have to go through that terrible, stressful phase. Unless you're just like remarkable from the beginning, then more power to you. I admire you. But I don't think that's necessarily the case for most. You have to learn. You have to practice. You gotta try a couple times maybe. You gotta, you know, rip a piece of clothing by accident and then figure out what to do to hide it. You know? So it's there's going to be insecurities, there's going to be difficulties. I've had a lot and I still struggle with some, but it is a process and you just have to, if you want to do it, you can, and you just have to keep trying. You have to make it a priority.
Absolutely. I completely agree. For me, if we're going to get real, which is what this is all about, right? So I'll get real, guys. I've never shared this. The biggest issues I have is, you know, everyone will say, oh, you have perfect skin, but like I get acne. I get acne very often. I have a lot of hormonal imbalances that I'm dealing with. As you know, I have hypothyroidism. So I have like a lot of estrogen in my body. And I personally think it's contributing to kind of adult acne that I have. And so like the hardest thing for me is to have to go and do a photo shoot when I have like a big zit, you know, and I'm like, my husband takes my picture. So I'm right with you because I'm far out in Long Island, right? So, you know, my hubby he's really come along as a photographer, and it's really kind of been very interesting to see his growth there in that industry. And so, yeah, like having a pimple, or ladies, when it's that time of the month and if you deal with bloating, I'm gonna get real now. That's difficult for me. When you have to do a form-fitting dress and you have to take these different pictures and your gut is hanging out and you're just like, okay, I mean, and listen, I'm not saying anti-body positive stuff, but I'm just saying that, you know, when you're used to your body looking a certain way and then it's temporary looking a different way, you know, how do you like how do you represent yourself in the light that you want to represent yourself as, while also dealing with Mother Nature? Like so there's that, and then
it like makes you not feel good. And you know, like it's, you want to, when you're doing these things, you want to feel good, you want to feel powerful, you want to feel beautiful, and that every month for me that feels terrible. You know, and that is totally something that I didn't even about.
So that, to be honest, the acne, the when you're not feeling well kind of situation. And then also what I love that you mentioned, how to pose. That's definitely something that I'm still working on as well, because I think, you know, I think we all could spend more time, like, is it your left side? Is it your right side? Do you hold your face down? Do you hold your face up? Do you want to smile, right? Like, are you going for an editorial look? Like, learning your body more intimately. And so, you know, I haven't done the whole stand in front of your mirror naked and kind of work it out for a bit, but I think that might be to get like real intimate with yourself. Right, I know. It's like, do I want to? But no, it's. I think it's
that's such a thing, though. Everyone says that is like the life-changing thing that makes such a difference. And oh my God, I can't believe I didn't do it sooner. Oh, gotta do it. Don't want to, have to do it.
I know. Yeah, we will definitely do it. I don't know if I'm going to blog about it, but I'm, I definitely.
Some things are better left private. We share a lot, and that's the other thing too about influencing is like I share a lot, but also some things are meant for me and only me.
Yeah. That's a great point. Absolutely. That not everything is an open book, right? And that you do have the right to say, I'm just going to do this for me. But sometimes even that, like sometimes when I posted my breakfast because I like to do a gluten-free breakfast. And so, a gluten-free kind of diet that I'm on. But then it's like, oh man, before I want to eat it, let me, snap a picture. Like sometimes it's interesting drawing the line between the life you live versus the life you share on social media. Do you struggle with that at all?
I try my best to be as real as possible. Sometimes I do know that I realize I hold things back. It is easier to share the lighter moments, the happier moments, the more exciting moments, the more Instagram perfect moments. But I do think that I try, if I'm having a bad day, I say I'm having a bad day. If I say, things like it's like little things to keep myself true to myself, authentic, because that's what I started on, and that's what people gravitated toward. That's why people followed me in the first place, because of that, So as hard as it is, who doesn't want? I always post pictures of the perfect drink when I'm at the bar, and like makeup for the day. Yes, and that's great because that is what you're doing. That is a part of your life. So I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. If you want to post your breakfast, you ate the breakfast, right? So that was a part of your day, and it was beautiful. So that's not. Don't invalidate that, I would say. But kind of keeping it real is also just important,
Sure. I agree. Yeah, I definitely, but I think it's interesting. Like sometimes I feel like being an influencer can kind of get in the way of like living in the moment, because instead of just watching this beautiful sunset, you're like, wait, let me get my phone. I gotta, put it, let me put it in a story, and it's just like, sometimes it's interesting, like living for you while living. I guess it's just a part of the process, but it's different. I feel like as kids or when we were younger. Yeah.
I realized at the beginning I was constantly on my phone. I was taking 100,000 selfies. It was always, I couldn't go anywhere without taking a picture. And I did work on it now. It's funny. The other day with my mom, I was like, oh my God, I don't remember. Because I had really cool makeup, and I was like, oh, I should take a selfie right now. And I was like, oh my God, like, because I'm so out of practice, because I used to do it all the time, and then I realized like that wasn't authentic to me. That wasn't necessary. I'd always take pictures of where I was, what I was doing, and I just was like sucked into my phone, and it wasn't it wasn't me, but you have to work through that, because in the beginning, you're developing yourself. You have to interact a lot. You have to talk to people. You have to work with the brands. You have to take all the pictures. That's how you have to sometimes, promote yourself, and that's fine. But then also remember, there comes a time where you get to kind of back off a little bit and even out. And I like to think that I'm at that point, and it's so nice. For sure.
Gotcha. Okay. And would you say, are there any misconceptions that you would want to kind of debunk for people? Like when people think about bloggers or influencers, what do you think they think about? And like, how does that compare to reality, at least from your perspective?
I think even in the beginning, I had thoughts about what influencers were that I was not right about. I thought that influencers were all super duper rich. You got paid $1 million for posts. You lived this luxury life. You got to travel all the time. It was kind of like a faux celebrity-esque kind of life. And guess what, everyone? I still live at home. So, and so not necessarily the case. And despite me having over 86,000 followers, I still am an average person and no one's, recognizing me off the street necessarily, I'm just, I'm nothing too special. I hate to break it to you. And I think that people think that, like, I feel like I get messages, oh my
Mhm.
gosh, you're famous, you're this, you're that. I'm like, no, like, not so much, Um, and that's totally
No, you
fine,
are famous. She's just
No,
humble.
oh my gosh. That's too funny. But that thing is that, I think that I thought it was more glitz and glam. But it is
Yeah.
hard work. It is blood, sweat, and tears. It is time and energy.
Hmm.
Um, and it's a process.
Mm.
You learn about yourself. You have to learn about the industry. I have learned so much, and I honestly
Yeah.
didn't think that I would learn this much and I would be this far into the actual industry of fashion and things like that. Um,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
there's things that, maybe present themselves in a way, but that's kind of the point of influencing is kind of, you
Mhm.
want to, is selling things. First of all,
Yeah.
influencing and modeling, like you're advertising, you're selling a product.
Yeah.
And so, as
Sure.
well as yourself, well, selling yourself, but, in a good way. So with that, you know, um, it's
Yeah.
there, it's, it's what you make it, and you can make money off
Hmm.
it. Tons of people, but you have to get to that point. That's not how you start off. I'll tell you that
Yes.
much. It takes time
Hmm.
and energy and years. There are many successful bloggers and influencers that make bank, and you can be that person too. I'm finally starting after 2 years of actually in it. I am making
Hmm.
some money, and it's great. But it did not happen overnight. I'll tell you
Hmm.
that much. That
Yeah.
was
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I think that for me, I was used to doing like film production stuff with my other projects and ventures that I'm a part of. And so I thought, oh, film is much harder because again, it's, having to be on cue and be more as put together as possible. And so a picture should be half the effort. No, actually, I find taking pictures and shooting to be far more difficult than if you were to
Really.
put me on stage and like host my own television show. I could do that with my eyes closed. Like that's hi, welcome to, you know what I mean? Like that's very easy for me. That's in, I would say my wheelhouse includes shooting and taking pictures, but I have to work with it. It's not as easy. So, I think I thought it was going to be easier than it was. I agree with you. It's a lot of like back and forth with brands and like, okay, sure, now we'll pay you. And then 60 days later, where's the check, right? So like dealing with the business of influencer is being an influencer is very interesting, and also the right collaborations, right? A lot of people can ask you to take a picture in a t-shirt, take a picture in a dress. Not everything is for you. Not everyone is going to be a good fit for you. So being discerning with the type of work that you're doing. And thank you, William, for tuning in and the love and support. Again, everyone who's tuned in live, and if you're watching on the replay, thank you. And yeah, I think the biggest thing is like kind of like what you said, it's whatever you make it, right? So if you enjoy media, if you enjoy taking pictures, if you enjoy fashion, if you enjoy whatever products you're incorporating in your journey as an influencer, if you enjoy that, then this is definitely for you. And what I think people forget is they assume, oh, this is only for X amount of groups or X amount of ages. There are influencers that are in their 60s, there are influencers who are 8 years old and 4 years old, there are influencers in their 20s. It's like there's no real limit to this, right? So even if you have a full-time job, you could be a principal at a school and you could totally still be an influencer, right? This is something you do on your time. So you can make it work for you and with your schedule. So that's something I would like for people to think about. Everyone's trying to figure out, little side hustles that they can do, make that extra money. This is absolutely an avenue for you, but you've got to, like Faith said, you've got to be able to put in the work. You may or may not get paid initially, probably not initially. It's probably going to take maybe at least a year, year and a half before you start getting money because you've got to build that following. You've got to build that platform. Why are people trusting you? Why is your advice valuable? How consistent are you? Quality images. are you doing something different, or are you one on the you know, list of a million other people doing the same dang thing, right? Like figuring out your unique proposition and just living your best life with it. You know, I think that that's it, right? I mean, I guess my last question really would just be, what advice do you have for people, you know, who are looking to you and they see you as that famous, beautiful, stunning, inspirational woman that you are, and you give so much to us? You know, if someone wants to follow your you know, the path that you've laid out for people, if they want to learn how to be their version of Faith, what's step one for them?
I would say just taking the chance on yourself. I mean, that's always what I've done. And having expectations, but at the same time, not necessarily. I kind of got into this as a fun thing for myself, as something for self-care. It was something that I wanted to do for myself. And I think that's why I thrived. I didn't get into it like, I want to make all the money, I want to be famous, I'm going to be fabulous, and like, you know what I mean? Because you can tell the difference between those types of people online. You can. This has to be something that you want to do. And I would say that's like the first thing, because unfortunately, it kind of does bother me sometimes. I get messages saying, how do I get 100,000 followers? And I'm like, if that's what you're doing this for, you shouldn't be doing it. It's not about followers. It's about what you're doing. It's about what you're putting out there. You know what I mean? It's about having a passion for that.
Yeah, definitely.
A love for clothing and style and you know, working with people and talking to people. And the first thing, you have to have that actual passion for it. Do it for the right reasons. If you have it for the right reasons, then full steam ahead. Just do it. Start posting your own style, post things that you like.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I posted a lot of things that were not sponsored at all, but with brands that I loved, and then they started to actually notice me because I would tag them. I would literally, you know, tag them in my post, hashtag. I'd do little reviews. I would do makeup hauls, completely unsponsored, completely just because. And that's how I started to get noticed. So that's a major piece of advice. Is, you know, you just have to start. It seems difficult to start, but if you have an Instagram page, then it's a lot easier to start than you think it is. And also what helped is also having another part of me, of my branding, in addition to my influencing. So like my activism, which is how I can combine some things. Sorry, the dog's barking.
Gotcha.
To have another type of passion, involve that. That is a part of you, and brands like that because it makes you different and it makes you more relatable. So just be authentic. And, you will succeed.
Absolutely. Guys, to recap, what did she just say? You have to have a passion. If you're in this for numbers, for, ooh, I need 1 million followers, you can jump right off this train. It's not about that, right? It's about passion, about what you're writing, the content you're creating. You have to have a deep connection to it. Completely agree. She also said what? Guys, be innovative, right? Before you even get money and all that, why don't you start to share and tag and put yourself on the radar for these brands that ideally you want to work with maybe 6 months from now, right? Start to show the love, right? How can you expect love if you refuse to give it? To give is to receive. That's a biblical principle. That's a principle of life. Like, get on it, right? And do it. Don't delay. I think that's the number one of the top things I hear from people. Oh, I want to start, but like they've been saying that for 6 months. Get off your keister and frickin' start, man. Like, just start. So I completely agree. And what I would add to that is, and she also said, have have a purpose with passion, right? She said activism is really what drove her to get down this road, right? So what's your purpose, right? I think that for me, that's why I started a business, right? It was to help women have a purpose in their life, using entrepreneurship, using social media to effectuate a platform and build a business for themselves, build the life that they want for themselves. And so everything for me centers around that within the projects I work with, within the people I work with, within the content that I create. So I absolutely passion, purpose, and then what else? It's going to be strategy, guys, right? That's what she said. You have to think outside of the box, and then also research. I think it's so funny when people are like, oh, I want to blog. Do you follow blogs? No. That's so interesting. So maybe look into some bloggers and see what's out there, right? Because it's not your competition, but it's a community that you want to join. Maybe get to know the community, huh? Right? To give love is to receive love. Start to follow, start to comment, give the positive karma because it comes right back to you. So those are the things that I would add as well with that. And just, you know, thank you, Faith. Again, she's giving us our time, guys. She gave us life in how you need to be an influencer. If you watch this, you can watch it over and over and over again. She gave you what you needed to get started. So don't be out here in these streets talking about, I don't know how to be an influencer. Faith Costa showed and told you how. So get your life, get your life. And with that, as always, you know, yes. So tell everyone, what's the best way for people to reach out to you? If they have questions, where do they go?
So you can go to my website, faithcosta.com, or again, my major platform is Instagram. So at faith_plus_fashion. Email me is probably the best way. DM, honestly, it's a little bit difficult. But emails, again,
Okay.
oh yeah, if you want to be an influencer, develop your other social media, your branding, your website, your Facebook, your Instagram, your Pinterest. So I have all of those things. So again, I have my Facebook page here. I have at Faith Plus Fashion. Follow me. I'm always doing different types of things. I'm always working with different brands. I'm doing events. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, love, send them my way. Please. I'm, again, a person. Awesome. It's not unreachable. And
you're a dope person, but you're an important person, though. Yes. Thank you, Faith. Well, thank you everyone for who watched this on the live. Thank you for all the comments, all the love and support. Again, it's greatly appreciated. Your time is very important and we greatly appreciate it. And so we hope you enjoyed. Again, get in touch with Faith. If you want to grow your Instagram account, if you want to understand how to really make social media work for you, she's a really great resource and a really phenomenal model. So if y'all have products, if you all have clothes, this is your girl. She does beauty, fashion, everything. So,
and also everyone, again, another part of this is when we collaborate with brands and a couple months later, we have all these clothes, we, again, are working with StyleForIt. So now we are able to sell our clothes and buy clothes. So this is also like a different platform. So for you, if you want to get these style pieces, if you want to do it yourself, you can. There's so many different opportunities for you to do this. So pay attention and join us on this journey, please.
Yes, exactly. On StyleForIt, I just actually went to a Teen Vogue body party, their first one that they had, and I wore my top was from StyleForIt. So, you know, guys, there's a lot of really cute pieces on StyleForIt. Go to StyleForIt.com. It's the pinned comment here. You can sell clothing. You can buy clothing for yourself. Sizes 12 to 32. Like, you better get your life and get on this platform because it's amazing. And you're going to be adding to your shop as well, right?
Yes, I am. I have some new pieces coming, so you got to stay tuned for that. I'll have a blog post coming all about it so you can learn even more about how I'm doing it and everything. So again, and Natasha's story is awesome. We are doing it. Again, join us.
Yes. Exactly. All right. So thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone. And stay tuned for what Faith has on social media, what I'm doing, and what StyleForIt is giving to you guys. All right. So thank you. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Faith.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.